breakfast puppies?
This podcast contains adult language and content and is meant for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Live from Radio City Music Hall, it's the Glitterbois. Okay, not really.
The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas. This is where you are all supposed to sing along. I'm very disappointed in both of you. This is the biggest letdown of my life.
Deep in the heart of Lone Star.
Yes.
If you had gone with another Texas song, I would have been able to do it, but I can't remember the words to that one ever.
Well, anyway, Rifts, Lone Star, World Book 13. We are finally at my favorite set of books, starting with Lone Star. Fantastic cover. You know, I don't frequently vibe with a lot of Zalesnik's work. It's just not my the style of art that I really like, but this is fantastic. That it is a badass looking thing. I don't want to fight that. I would probably not invite that over for dinner.
No.
Yep. And then a fucking badass picture of a line walker. Wait, is that a line walker?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a line walker on the second page by Ramon Perez. Man, this book, Lone Star, it's about freaking time. So, best book ever. Thanks. Catch you in the next episode.
Well, you know, there's a little more to talk about than the cover and the first picture. Lone Star it opens up all the dirty secrets about where the Dog Boys came from.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it, like, if you like Dog Boys and you want to know where they came from, and all of the, like, when I was rereading this, I forgot how evil Desmond Bradford is.
Yeah.
He's like Mengele evil.
Mm-hmm.
He is horrible.
There's a couple small references where they were taking bits and pieces from Mengele's biography for that.
It's just, but before you get there,
and he's doing it to dogs too.
he's doing it to dogs.
Yeah. Before we even get there, we have a really nice dive into areas of the coalition. It's just kind of an overview of some of the places as we're starting to head south of the Midwest that haven't gotten as much discussion, as much exposure up to this point in the Rift saga.
They were touched on in Juicer Uprising.
Yeah.
You got some names. You're like, oh, there's stuff going on down in that big Lone Star area.
The other thing is that this is the book where they really start to dig into the internal structure of the coalition. And if you are playing a game that involves the coalition, whether it's as an op4 or if you are playing characters who are members of the coalition or from the coalition, it is the first keystone to explaining the complexity of the coalition.
Yeah. And it gives you an idea. I know it talks about the Lone Star base, but it gives you an idea what some of the other like big bases might look for the coalition states. You can take this out and go, this is a base that the CS developed somewhere else, drop it in, and becomes this like great checkbox and what it would look like militarily and what would be in it. Goes over the history. And it really, it very much describes, hey, the CS basically found most of their tech. Like, They discovered. Everyone kind of knew this, but this is really like, oh, by the way,
complete accident.
Complete accident. They found this great big base that was filled with a whole bunch of nasty. Oh, cool. And then they handed it to an evil fucking megalomaniac biologist. Okay, nothing bad could come of this, I'm sure.
And we cannot overstate this. Bradford is top tier of the coalition. Like, this is one of the leaders of the coalition, not necessarily their military, but he is one of the leaders of their scientific progress, one of the leaders of their thought. Bradford is fucking evil. He is It's hard. Like we looked at book 11, which had all the details and the stats for Prosek and his kid and the rest of the people, and they all kind of like mustache twirling evil.
Right.
This guy's the devil.
So I mean, just in a nutshell,
yeah.
Sector 357 on page 20. This is the area of a complex that is super evil, and it's so evil none of the elite guard want to go down there.
Yeah.
Right. They get the willies just standing in front of the damn door.
Yep.
Right. Like that's like, oops, another one got out. Our bad. It quickly, and then it kind of lightens the tone in some ways, in my opinion. It's like, why mutant dogs? Why did they create them? Well, they're loyal and they have good senses and they raise quickly. And you have almost some like endearing pictures of anthropomorphic baby puppies. And you're like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. No. They're just setting you up.
They're setting you up. But before we even get there, I want to get back to Bradford.
Oh, okay.
Take a look at his experience level. This is something that you rarely see. 20th level Cyberdoc. This isn't a game where there are only 15 levels.
Right.
This man's so evil, he has 20 levels of one class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just, he's a 10th level administrator. That's actually more scary to me.
Yeah.
He's also a 10th level administrator. He's the bureaucrat's bureaucrat.
Oh, man. What if it was like 20th level DMV clerk?
Right.
Run away!
I don't want to jump to the next. Oh, geez.
The other characters are pretty cool too. I think I have skipped ahead. Sorry, we were talking about Bradford. And I was like Bradford. Let's talk more about Bradford.
I mean, I want to talk about his staff of evil idiots and some people that are not bad, but they have bombs in their skulls because Desmond put them there.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, dog pack. Yay!
And in history, that has never ever happened.
No.
Yeah.
Military dog program. You talk about the different dogs, the training. It tells you about like how they set them up, how they manipulate them, basically. And it goes through kind of a rehash, an upscaled version of the Dog Boys or the Psyhounds.
Like if you read the Butts edition, because by this point we still don't have the Ultimate edition. So,
nope.
At the time you read the Butts edition and you're like, man, this Dog Boy thing is pretty cool. And they do get a lot of pages dedicated to them in the Butts edition. But you wanted to know more? This book has you covered. Like everything from their birth to their training to their use in society, all of it.
You want to play a Beagle Dog Boy? Here we go.
It did add a few more options and things, such as some of the, it added more breeds and more mutations. So that's always welcome.
Yep. They added a pug.
There's no pug.
There's no pug.
No, trust me.
No.
No.
The reason I asked is I actually played a pug dog boy from Lone Star at one point, and I couldn't remember if we built that off of an existing breed or something else. Yeah,
you could do
there's no pug and there's no Frenchie.
Yeah, bull terrier, pit bull, maybe.
Yeah. But also, if you ever wanted to play a dog boy who wasn't part of the coalition, this book has you covered. Goes through all of the stuff.
Well, you have both the ferals and the freeborn offsprings. Right. This is like so cool.
Then the special forces, like the customized dog boys.
Right,
I want to play a dog boy, but I don't want to be a grunt.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell you what, we got the dog boy seals. We got the dog boy special trackers. We got the dog boy murder bots or kill hounds. Yeah. It's so much cool stuff. Have you ever wanted to customize your dog boy gauntlets? Well, guess what? We got at least six different options for you here.
Now, I will say one of the interesting things in here is they reiterate, even though they've made them, even though they've trained them, even though they may or may not have kill chips in them, they still don't trust them with the latest and greatest weapons.
Correct.
All their weaponry is the older, in some people's opinion, cooler looking weaponry. And so, okay. So it gives you the tense right there. The dog boys are an expendable commodity.
Yes.
Kill all you want. We'll just make more.
Now, here's a question for you two that I've had discussions about in the past. Does Lone Star do a good job on expanding on the interesting relationship between Psy Stalkers and Dog Boys adequately.
I think it adds a bit more. I do believe we're going to get more Psystalker stuff coming up. I always forget that there's more than just dog boys in this book.
Well, of course you would.
But yeah, we have other stuff coming down the line here.
They have some descriptions of some of the leaders that have very loyal dog boys, and some of them are Psystalkers, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get the feel on like the indoctrination level, so to speak,
right?
That you would have of the dog boys that are that fanatically loyal, even in spite of themselves.
Yeah, we have multiple pages dedicated to the Psystalkers, the wild Psystalkers here. Actually, I think a lot of this was just copied and pasted wholesale into Ultimate Edition.
Yes.
So that's what you get there.
The reason I ask that is if there was any shortcoming in Lone Star, this is the book I would have looked to expand that relationship. Because if you think about how Psystalkers are presented in the original Butts edition, the loyalty between Psystalkers and dog boys is a two-way street.
Yeah.
Because they specifically mention that Psystalkers are frequently very tied to the dog boys under their command. And I honestly don't know where I actually personally come down on this, and this is something I've been struggling with for 10 years, but I wanted a little bit more here on that, because this is the book where that should have been fleshed out, and instead they just hinted at it a bit more than I would have liked.
Yeah, most of the text that deals with their relationships is heavily focused on humans.
Right.
Yeah.
And the given that as an old head started with Butts Edition, Rifts player, one of the keystones for me was the very interesting relationship between dog boys and Psystalkers, and it's like
So okay, Psystalkers. Now, to me, Psystalkers are one of the more interesting of the core iconic
very much so. One
things.
of literally probably my favorite class.
Yeah, I love. We're going to get a lot more on Psystalkers in a couple of books. In the next book, New West and Spirit West dive into them more because of the wandering tribes they have out there. But I'm pretty sure Canada, I think Rifts Canada might be the one that dives more into the tribes.
Yeah, Canada's one I'm not super familiar with.
Maybe. And I sit here being the odd man out because Psystalkers to me were just PPE vampires. I never latched onto them for some reason. I really never did. They never kind of jumped out at me, but I think it's because I tended to play magic using characters. And so I was scared of them. Like I was scared of them, but I kind of put them out of my mind. But the dog boy aspect that you brought up, yeah, it would have been nice for them to.
Oh, at some point I can do a whole thing on just Psystalkers, but it's got to be kind of a meta thing because it crosses over books and some of the unique potential.
I know I've read about more of the Psystalker tribes.
Yes.
And I can't remember exactly where that happened. All of the books tend to blur together.
Yeah, and I believe it's actually scattered across several books.
Yeah.
And I believe we even get into non-North American Psystalkers in some of the books. So
I think possibly, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I do really find them compelling.
Yes.
But we'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll cover that book, whichever one it happens to be, I'm sure.
Well, have you ever wanted more hover cycles?
Why, yes. Yes, I have.
This book has you covered.
It has all of the hover cycles, and I really like most of the designs of these hover cycles. They kind of, as long as I throw my economist out the window, I could buy that all of these would be in production in Rift's Earth.
I really like the addition of more hover cycles. This is the first time I think we've seen it more than 2 or 3 added at one time. Ever since Triax? I think Triax had a few.
Yeah,
they had a couple.
Sourcebook 1,
maybe. Yeah. I get again. It's there's so many of these books. You tend to get some of the earlier ones mixed up and what content they had.
It really strikes me weird that Rifts Japan did not have more hover cycles in it. Now that I'm thinking about it,
they didn't dive into that motorcycle gang kind of thing.
We talked about that too.
Yeah, we talked about that, but yeah, just like obviously we're sitting at a table. All three of us ride. So we're a little motorcycles eccentric as a group, which translates over to hover cycles. And it was just, I was happy to see this.
You know what? I'll say this. I'll say this now. People hold me to this because I've already started work on it, but I just need some gentle, supportive reminders. Keep reminding me if I can get about, let's say 10, if I get a dozen people to either remind me or post or do something with emotes, I don't know, something on our Discord server, remind me to keep doing it because ADHD, I'm going to forget. Remind me to finish and publish or submit to a Rifter my Moto Bushido Palladium conversions, which includes Bosozoku and the Motorcycle Samurai kind of stuff. I have it like halfway written. I just got to balance out the numbers.
Awesome. I thought you were going to be proposing a Glitterbois back patch.
Now, if you can get another dozen people, because that's fantastic. We do need a back-sized version in woven, embroidered, back-sized embroidered patch of the Glitterbois logo, or no, just the head.
Yeah, just the head. Just the head, possibly with logos. Has to be single. Has to be single piece, no 3-piece.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, back to this book.
So I loved the hover. So what do you think about the picture on 62 there? Daniel?
Anyway, so after that, we have the addition of things other than Dog Boy.
And we have Desmond Brett is evil as fuck.
Yeah.
This is where he gets his monsters for all of his horrible experiments and what he does to them.
Oh God, yes, seriously. All of the modifications listed in bullet point layout.
Yep.
Followed by another set of bullet point layouts, and followed by one of my favorites, because I love Palladium and their random tables of mutations gone wrong. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Now there's an awesome nugget hidden in here about.
There's a couple actually
about why the CS leaders still look so good and they're in their 70s and 80s because they've figured out how to make them live not forever but way longer than you want an evil dictator to live.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a question I got to ask Kevin at some point. There are a couple comments here and there scattered throughout the section we're currently dealing with that kind of heavily imply that the Terror Bears are partially responsible for Rift's Earth.
Well, we talked about that when we were discussing the Terror Bears, and specifically one of, I think it was Transdimensional, maybe?
It was Transdimensional.
Either that or the Adventures, where one of the adventures was literally the Terror Bears, like, going through a rift or something. You're like, what could happen? Or no, them doing a thing that could potentially cause
World War III, and it within the context of TMNT, that leads directly to after the bomb,
right?
But you can fork it, and there's a couple things they say there that, depending on how you read them, oh my God, the Terror Bears are responsible for Rift's Earth.
So you have your mutations gone wrong, and then you get into, well, dogs were cool, but let's have bears.
And bears are
even better.
I love the battle cats.
Oh,
of course you do.
By the time this airs, perhaps some folks will understand why I love the battle cats. But the kill cats, I think, are a little overdone.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to play a kill cat. I love kill cats as NPCs, but not necessarily as bad guys.
Yeah. I mean, inherently, when you read them, they don't play well with others, period, which is why they're so limited by the Coalition.
Yep.
I mean, like, a lot of these ones they introduce in here, the bears, the cats, etc., it's like, we're going to try this out and see if it works. And you're like, why on earth did you even think this was a good idea?
Because Desmond Broward.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Then you have the mini monkey spies, which I always thought was hilarious. And the monkey boys. I want my own army of mini monkey spies and monkey boys so that they can look at me condescendingly.
And you ever wanted to play a chimp in a lab coat? Book has you covered.
The Mini Monkey Spies, when I was rereading this, had me dying laughing because I had recently gone down a deep rabbit hole on CIA animal experiments for using animals as operatives, and I was just dying laughing because there's a couple sections where I'm pretty sure I know where they got some of the concepts from.
For me, I keep going back to the original Indiana Jones, the Raiders Lost Ark, and it's like bad dates. The monkey that kept running around, and but now we've made him smarter and given him cameras, and it's like that's just not going to end well. Just not at all. Mutant rats.
Always here for a mutant rat.
And I really like the story.
Oh, I love it.
Behind how they came to be and why they continue to be, despite everyone at Lone Star's best efforts to exterminate them.
Not just Lone Star. The Pecos Empire is actively trying to kill them too. I mean, and I love the fact that rats. Yeah, what could go wrong with a species that multiplies rapidly and doesn't like being caged,
and also is known for intense intra-individual cooperation?
Yeah, it's yeah. And I also love the fact that look, a rift jumped in. 1,109 jumped through the rift. 313 showed up in the sewers for the Lone Star Complex. Where's the other ones? It's like, some of them were rifted to the Badlands. Okay, we're still missing 400 of these things. Just running out there.
And depending upon how much time has passed since then,
thousands.
Rat apocalypse has happened somewhere else in the Megaverse.
The fact that Northern Gun does not have a rat problem was a huge miss.
Yeah.
Given where Northern Gun's located.
Okay, then the mutant bats. I thought that screamed firm goalie to me.
I've had a lot of people make comments about the bats, and I will support any quibbles people have about the class from a mechanistic point of view. However, as a book that is set in Texas, which has some of the largest concentrations of bat caves in the entire United States, it makes sense to be here.
Yeah. And then you get into the Zytikics killers.
Yes.
And I love these creatures. I think they're awesome. I've really liked them. You flip to the cover, you flip to this page. I think I don't want to give him credit, but of all of his horrible, evil ideas, this one actually might help people, not just humans, because the Zytikics are a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's going to breed a creatures. Now, of course, because nature finds a way.
Yep.
There's this little caveat here that, they can breed in the wild. And right now, they only can feed on the big nasty bugs. Right now.
So I was going to bring this up later, but this is a great point to bring it up. Lone Star, brought to you by Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And there you have it.
It's like, look, we've wiped out all the horrible bugs. What are those? What? Oh, no. Wait, hold up.
We get into the underground, the escapees, multiple pages of backstory stuff here. This is We've come back to the good Palladium stuff. This is meat. This is stuff to work with. This is good Underground Railroad kind of stuff. Alternate options, things that they've experimented with that didn't quite work out. If you want to be a dog boy crazy, well, you can't really do that here, but there are some thoughts on if you wanted to try and why it was a bad idea.
See our recent episode on Psyscape and Psy implants for some potential ideas.
I love the Psyx aliens. I think they are awful as characters because their whole thing is essentially they're lazy and addicts. But the the fact that they tried to breed aliens.
Also, why did they appear in this book and not a book that included Nevada? Come on, folks.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know.
But they're all lazy addicts basically, and then we get into talking about Desmond Bradford. And
sorry, before we go to Desmond Bradford, when was this book published?
1997.
1997.
I want to say
April of 97.
When did American Dad come out?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh God, no, that was the early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the alien from American Dad.
Oh, you are correct. That is the alien from American Dad.
I could almost argue that the alien from American Dad is a early 2000s version of Alf.
To a certain extent, yes, but I would also point out, tell me that's not Alf.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But I love the fact that like they got away with it because everyone just thinks that they're DBs.
Right.
That are like the Greys. Like, anyway.
So a character is fascinating when the entire character's introduction is a multi-page story.
Yeah.
And it's not badly written.
No.
This is good stuff.
Oh, that picture. I love that picture.
That is one of my favorite pictures in all of Palladium, Desmond Bradford. I love that look in his face. He's well dressed. He looks like he's kind of tired of your shit.
Yes.
He doesn't look like a psychopath though. He looks like he could be your dad or your boss or something. He doesn't have that look in his eyes until you stop and you look real close.
Mm-hmm.
And then those eyes sort of peer into your soul and you realize, oh fuck.
He come in this picture. He's the professor that you've been trying to like appease and you just miss it. And finally he just gives you that look.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man.
Counterpoint, did we need another Baxter Stockman? This character is so well written and everything else. I think a couple of the choices are cribbing a little too hard off of Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman's awesome.
Baxter Stockman's awesome. So separate the two a little bit more. That would be my only tiny quibble.
Here's an
it's
idea.
A very minor quibble.
Make them the same person.
So I think they are. In my headcanon, they are the same person in my headcanon.
You were just talking about the Terror Bears.
That would make, oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God.
I have always seen them as the same person.
Uh-huh.
Now, maybe alternate Earth or straight up rifted over and like, oh, I can manipulate these idiots. Off we go. I know where he already knew where that secret base is.
Let's take this back to the first handful of issues of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
That's
comic
literally
series
where my brain went.
with the Mouser robots and him robbing banks, but then we also get to the introduction of the Utroms and their thing. So let's just connect some dots here. Baxter Stockman and his Utroms in his Mauser step through the Utroms portal and end up in Rift's Earth at Lone Star.
I love it. Yeah, okay, I'm here for it.
And you know how there were 3 survivors? Maybe there were 4.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And like
sorry.
and like you keep reading this section on him. He has so
more
many pages.
He has more pages devoted to him in any one place than Emperor Prozac does.
Yeah. And like if you keep reading this, it just gets worse and worse. Like randomly, he's a genius. He continues to hide his illegal genetic experiments and was able to mastermind the assault on Lieutenant Emerson, plant false documents, and continue to manage the complex without missing a beat, leaving the slightest bit of evidence pointing back to him.
The last sentence before his stat block. After all, isn't it a god's duty to create new life?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, like, if they did, well, we'll talk about that at another time. But if they ever are able to do a animated or live action adaptation of Riffs, Desmond Bradford needs to be the bad guy.
Denzel Washington.
Yeah. Samuel Jackson.
Have you ever seen Forrest Whitaker do
Idris
a bad
Elba.
guy?
Oh. Idris Elba. Desmond Bradford.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Man.
He even has the look in his
He's
eyes.
even got the
mhm.
look into my eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
No,
That one's free, Kevin.
so so here's the thing: when Lone Star first came out and I read it, I was 100% certain they were starting to set up for a coalition civil war on a much larger scale than they actually sort of did.
I never got that feeling because I think Desmond, as long as they just leave him alone,
Right. But the moment they start not
Poking it.
leaving him alone, that's
But the thing is, Desmond doesn't have to do anything.
right.
All of this is in. We even get his opinions on the people and his connections to them and the power that he actually has over everyone else. He doesn't want to rule. He wants to play God.
Yep.
Right. Which is where if the CS started screwing with him and his personal agenda, that would be the tipping point.
but I think I honestly think that they would come to him and go, "Hey, this is bad." He goes, "Do you want to live another 50 years? It's not that bad."
Bad. Right.
Okay. You want disposable troops?
He's one of the best written megalomaniacs I have seen in a role playing setting. I like whoever wrote this character did a lot of thinking about, and there's a lot of internal logic to the character, which can be hard to do when you give him a 6-page backstory.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Skelelots come from here too? Because Lone Star isn't just genetics.
Right.
Isn't a whole industrial
I
complex.
don't remember.
I thought the Skelelots were found, but
Oh.
I honestly, I don't know.
Well-
now I have to go down a rabbit hole.
Now we have to go down the rabbit hole. Yep. We'll probably find out before this airs. But dear listeners, if you have thoughts on that, please post them. I think the people that follow Bradford are just as interesting, not necessarily on the grand scheme of things, but definitely as side characters in a movie about the fall of Desmond Bradford. Cashbrook, I think, is very interesting, compelling character that could potentially become something of a foil or an ally. The rest of them are they all have. I like that they're mostly aberrant. They're not like miscreant or diabolic. You have these characters that there are some, but there's power happening in the background. There are angles of approach that a group could potentially capitalize upon to insert themselves somewhere in the power scheme of Lone Star.
You have like two good counterpart. You have Frederick Philip Alexander, who's scrupulous. This guy, but he's a human supremacist, but he's scrupulous and he's loyal to the CS.
Yep.
But he's the good guy, right?
Yeah.
But he's still chopping people's brains up. And then you have Dr. Laura Cunningham, who's diabolic and human.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen an NPC that's diabolic and human, not some supernatural
there's been
evil.
in Rifts.
Diabolic
In
and
Rifts,
human?
Yeah.
Carl Prosick.
Okay.
I know he's diabolic. We were
there's
just
a
looking
couple
at it.
others. Like there's one in the England source book.
But it's not
And-
common.
Yeah.
And she's just a doctor.
Well,
Look at that picture.
I
dude.
know.
I'm just going to say, as someone who works in the medical profession, I don't see the problem
Hey,
with those two things.
I read/saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
What is that actress's name?
The one who played Nurse
Yeah.
Ratchet.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Also, Kyle Wynn and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Louise Fletcher. I'm pretty sure that's it.
I think you're right.
I think it's Louise. God damn. Seriously. Nurse Ratchet? This is Nurse fucking Ratchet here.
Yep.
Dr. Amanda Santiago. Again, another one of these pictures where you look at this woman and she's like, oh, this pleasant woman holding this little baby puppy. Alignment miscreant. Oh, and then you read, like, she's got a 5-point plan. Fucking shit up. Like, okay,
what?
There's so much happening behind the scenes here at Lone Star.
Yep.
If only we had this much information on Sizescape.
It would almost have been a complete role-playing game.
Yeah. Yeah, almost.
And then, okay, we're not done yet, right? Right? We've just got through through Lone Star, not Sidescape. We're not done yet. We just got through Lone Star, and we're to page 126, and the Pecos Empire starts now. Now, here's when I was going through this again, I thought to myself, when I got to this point, I need another book for Pecos Empire.
Need another book?
Like,
there's a lot here.
There's so much already here in Lone Star. I want another book because the Pecos Empire, these aren't even really the foil to Lone Star. It's just the rest of Texas. And it's not like Texas is small, guys. Yeah, it's a big chunk of land.
I have a momentary curiosity. What's the page count on Lone Star?
176 with the ads.
What is the page count on Sidescape?
160 pages with the ad.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So wait, 18 more pages.
18 more pages and substantially less world building content.
No. Lone Star has 18 more pages than Sidescape and significantly more world building content. Yeah. But
18 pages is hardly anything.
Oh, but in that 18 pages, we're going to cover 1.5 million people and the political craziness of a bunch of bandits, multiple of which have king and emperor in their titles.
Yes.
It's Texas.
So we finally get one of the creatures. Okay, well, finally. I don't think these were in the source book. Were they the Simvan?
Oh, the revised they are, I think they're mentioned. They're mentioned everywhere.
Yeah, mentioned everywhere. Now we get to see the Simban. Oh man. Hold on. Wait. No. Let's get back to Pecos Empire here. These guys are fucking awesome. So one thing you were talking about Texas.
Yeah.
Earlier in the book, at the very beginning, when it's talking about like the coalition's presence, it makes a good, frequent, recurring point of letting you know that the coalition really only controls a tiny little fraction, despite the fact that they call it the whole state. They say the whole state is ours. It is not.
No.
And this section here details exactly how much the coalition actually owns, because the entire rest of the goddamn state, outside of the Lone Star complex and I think like 2 other places in the northern hat of Texas.
If you look at page 14, it has a great map.
Yep.
That says, okay, here's the CS Northern Quadrant.
Yeah. Yep. They get the hat.
And that's being really optimistic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I would say they have their 3 or 4 major cities and they patrol the fuck out of it. Yeah. But in reality, it's 3 or 4 major cities.
And when you're reading about the Pecos Empire, it implies that it extends into Arkansas and New Mexico.
Yep. Yeah. Now, as you read about the Pecos Empire and you start picking out the leaders, you start figuring out, like, what's it like to be a bandit, the nomads, how the gangs work. There's lots of background material with no super specifics yet. But then when you start getting into the leaders, and again, Pecos Empire, you get this vision of like the Roman Empire or the Holy Roman Empire, right? Like, no. These are despotic warrior kings that have minions that they throw at things.
Yeah.
This is like Germany after the 30 Years' War, where everybody hates each other and it will put a knife in each other at the drop of a hat, but screw it if we're going to let those Spaniards muck with us one more time, or those goddamn Swedes.
These are all very fascinating characters too. Yeah.
Well, and it starts with Gray Fox, an Apache, who, is running around, and you're like, what is this guy's story? Why is he's a 14th level wilderness scout? What the hell? Oh my God. Like, what's he doing? And then you start King Macklin, and who's like kind of reluctant. You have all of his followers.
Then you finally get to the one who is trying to set himself up as the empire.
Right.
As the emperor of the empire, Emperor Saber-Lazar.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking dragon.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, he he's really a dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now this is where my mechanic mind, I'm like, could you pull this off mechanically? And I don't think you could, purely based on like how long you can hold human form, I think. But this is the first time, this isn't the only time they've done this, and later on they do it again. The idea that a dragon's like, you know what? I'm going to muck with human politics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go lead an organization.
I would like to point out that there is a difference between how long a dragon hatchling can maintain human form and how long a fully adult dragon can maintain human form.
Absolutely. They call this the young adult fire dragon, which I think they're cheap. It might be around the time the Dragon and Gods book for Palladium Fantasy that came out, and I think they tweaked some of the rules. But yeah. But anyway, aside, which I can totally put aside, he's also a 10th level ley line walker. Oh,
we got a good picture from Ramon Perez here, which is essentially an advertisement for the Machinations of Doom comic that he did. And again, I love any pictures we get of the good old three-wheeler.
Yeah.
That's the classic mainstay of Rift's adventuring parties since day one.
Yeah.
We've got some new OCCs. We've got some the deeper dive into the Psy Stalker that by now we're all familiar with from the Ultimate Edition, and the Sim Van. Oh, love it. And we close out with a little bit more about the Lone Star State. What else is happening in Texas, including the haunted ruins of Dallas, which I actually have. I've semi-written an adventure that takes place there. Again, unfortunately, the Rifts campaign that I was running never got to go there, but I always found it very cool. More on the Pecos Empire. More just. This is a fucking awesome book.
Yeah.
The only criticism I have about it is I would have liked a touch more detail on what's going on in Texas between Lone Star and the Pecos Empire and the Vampire Kingdoms.
They actually do. They mentioned some of that.
I just wanted a little bit more, just a little bit, just a little bit.
I agree with you, and the kind of the the Rio Grande River kind of keeps them out, and I'm like,
okay,
yeah, but that like there's so much in this book, and they crammed this is where I think it should have been a second book. It should have been like the Pecos Empire, World Book 14 should have been the Pecos Empire,
right?
Because they crammed this in 18, 20 pages, and I'm like, there's so much here.
The one thing I love, though, is given how Texas is a lot like California, where you can, when you talk to someone from California, they talk about how there's at least 3 separate Californias inside of California. I do really take my hat off to Palladium for recognizing the same thing is very, very true in Texas. And and that head nod of how geography and distance and culture and habitability shape different social structures in one geographical region is spot on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to come out and say it. You need this book.
You need this book.
Yeah.
I think across the board, Buckley's nodding. Okay, yep. This is a must-have if you are a Palladium player, unless you're one of those weirdos who has abandoned North America completely.
True, fair. Or you're one of those people who plays entirely in Phase World or something.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of books there for you to do that. So no shade. But if you are considering even taking an adventuring party to Rifts North America, Lone Stars has so much information behind the scenes on one of the dominant factions of the region.
Yep.
Oh, such a good book.
Yep. So folks, stop by our Discord and tell us your favorite adventuring tales of running around in the Lone Star region. We'd love to hear them. Again, there's so much to work with here. I can only imagine you've spent 20 years of a campaign just running around the Pecos Empire. Catch you next time.
Starships, magic, mystic martial arts, romance.
All of these can be found in A Cloak of Blades by Isaac Scher. You might have heard my name before. I've done a lot of voiceover work for Breakfast Puppies, and I've recently released my first novel. It's available on Amazon as an ebook and paperback, and you can get it for free if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. I do hope you'll support my work as you're supporting Breakfast Puppies, and it's been a pleasure talking with you today. Have a good one.
You've been listening to The Glitterbois, a Palladium Books fan podcast. Glitterbois, Rifts, the Megaverse, and all other such topics are the property of Kevin Siembieda and Palladium Books. Please buy all their stuff and help keep them in print and making more games. You can order directly at palladiumbooks.com, and their entire catalog is available digitally at Drive-Thru RPG as well. Our opening music is 8-Bit Bass and Lead by Furby Guy from freesound.org. This closing music is Caravana by Philip Gross, available at freemusicarchive.org. All sound effects used are self-made or acquired via Creative Commons Zero license. If you like what you have heard, find us on Twitter and Facebook as The Glitterbois. That's BOIS. And check us out online at breakfastpuppies.com/glitterbois. And also join us on the Breakfast Puppies Network Discord at breakfastpuppies.com/discord. And if you want to help us out, please spread the word and help us build a community. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.